undid my world. And I saw that movie in a movie theater. I saw that movie, I believe it was the Kiva Theater in Scottsdale, Arizona. And it wasn't first run either. I saw that a couple of years after it had been made. And I remember it really turned my world around because it got to a primal place, which basically says the first people not to trust is your father and mother.
What is the deep-seated psychological fear that's happening here? Maybe it's as simple and elemental as you're in a relationship with somebody, whether it's child-parent, husband-wife, but you never really know what that other person's thinking, and they might be evil.
Certainly touched nerves in all the kids like myself who saw that movie at a very young age, that you would come home and you would not recognize your mom and dad. They would have changed into people who hate you.
Say, Dad, when you're out there, did you see anything?
Let's not start that flying saucer nonsense again.
Hey, Dad.
Now, what do you want?
What happened to your net? It looks like there's a...
Nothing. I caught it on a barbed wire fence.
Barbed wire? But there isn't any barbed wire...
I caught it on barbed wire, I said!
That's a shattering, primal attack on all of us when we went to see this movie. But I saw the movie 5 times because I kept expecting the parents not to turn against the kid. Somehow, when I was like 11 or 10 years old and I saw that movie, I thought, well, maybe the 4th time I see it, the parents will be nice. I was like thinking that maybe film is like that. Film, you know, isn't a set story locked in cement, but it can actually change.
The director was at the top of his form in this sequence.
Gotta see the chief right away.
The chief, huh? Must be very important.
I think Menzies gave himself the license to do some very Bertolt Brechtian sets because it was a dream. And only he knew that. The audience didn't know that.
It's you wouldn't believe me and...
Well, what makes you think the chief will?
What's the trouble, Mac? Finley, come in here.
Just a minute.
Let me go! Let me out of here!
Forget about the bad costumes. Forget about the fact that the mutants, as they called them, had zippers up the back of their velour suits. How is this film working on a kind of a metaphorical level? And why does it have the power that it does? It was a metaphor for parents who are out of control because of alcoholism or disintegrating relationship or whatever, and how terrifying that would look to a child where all of a sudden their parents turn into alien monsters.
What really unseats you as a child when you see that movie, at the very end, it's all a dream. It's all a dream. He wakes up and his mom's normal and his dad's normal and they don't believe him. But then what happens in the last scene? It all happens over and over again.
Gee whiz.
I think that movie is the Groundhog Day of science fiction. He'll just go through the whole loop and then he'll wake up, and then he'll go through the whole loop and he'll wake up. It'll be a never-ending mirror tunnel of nightmare.
Hey, look up there!
In classic sci-fi, the innocence of children often saved the world. They had the purity of vision adults lacked. In Jack Arnold's The Space Children, only the kids can hear and heed the growing brain from outer space. It's sending roughly the same message Klaatu did.
You knew it would be here. Did it tell you? Yes.
I don't have a complete memory of the story of Space Children, but I just have a couple of key images. One is of this giant glowing brain in a cave, which seems to be calling children everywhere, like the Pied Piper, to gather around and listen to its message. And I remember seeing that movie and thinking, wow, isn't it interesting? The kids know something that the parents do not. And that's where the empowerment of children works its magic, at least it did on me, because the parents were unaware of a secret the kids held as a group, not an individual child, but there was a group secret, and that was important.
The children of rocket scientists, these kids sabotage the grown-ups' ICBM. In their minds, the moral issue is clear. In the minds of the soldiers and scientists, it never occurs.
You would just think that if our parents are going to destroy the world, children would never do that, because we really have all of the tools of tolerance and kind of like global understanding, and that's why we, the children, need to be empowered to tell the parents what they need to know to protect all of us, you know, as a whole. And that's what that movie kind of was saying at the end.
4, 3, 2, 1. Fire!
I don't understand. Why did it destroy the Thunder? Why? Why?
It had to, because the world wasn't ready to do it.
The world? What do you mean, the world?
The children, all over the world, they did what we did, in every country.
You mean the warheads in Moscow and Prague and London? They're all useless?
Yes.
It's a little bit daunting, the fact that there seems to be this great silence out there. Why? Well, I have a theory, and I call it the whack-a-mole theory. You ever played whack-a-mole? It's a carnival game, okay? Mole comes up, you hit it. Another mole comes up, you hit it. There's a possibility that if you have gotten on top as a galactic civilization, another civilization starts to rise up toward your level, you got to whack them, because you don't know what they might do. And they threaten you, your way of life, and your children. It's sort of how we think, sort of how Americans deal with other cultures, and pretty much sort of how all ascendant cultures have dealt with lesser cultures throughout all of human history. So nature and all of human history support the whack-a-mole theory much more than the benign angelic alien theory.
Never more so than in The War of the Worlds. In every version of H.G. Wells' immortal tale, the alien invaders are purely malevolent. They're not here to teach us a useful lesson. They're here to colonize us.
Is that a fireball or something? Boy, that's big. Maybe it's a comet.
I read War of the Worlds in college, and I had never seen the movie before I was at Long Beach State College, and then I saw the movie on television one day.
The Earthlings are almost like the residents of a third world country, innocent, eager to welcome and learn from the strangers. They are moles ready for a whacking.
We're friends, yeah? Hey there, open up.
This happened in so many movies where at least we tried to lead with put our best foot forward and show that we are basically good human beings. And we went out there with all sorts of iconography to get them to understand, white flag.
How are they going to understand us? We're talking sign language. They'll understand us all right. Sure? Sure? Everybody understands when you wave the white flag, you want to be friends? Hey there! Open up! Come on out! We're friends! That's right! We welcome you! We're friends! Yeah!
And he says, well, everybody understands the white flag. Look what they got. A priest with a prayer book, with a Bible, walks towards the machines as he prays. The 23rd Psalm, I believe.
Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
And what does he get for extending the olive branch? He gets lasered. You know, he's gone. You know, he's toast. He's a pile of ash.
He was neither the first nor the last victim. Like our religion, our weaponry was impotent against the invaders.
They're bent on genocide. And I think some of this subliminally came from the Holocaust. I think some of this subliminally came from the information that was coming out every year or so, more and more, about the true extent of what happened.
This genocide spared no one. It was a Holocaust that extended to every corner of the globe. No matter how humble or anonymous you were, there was no way to hide from the Martians' killing machines.
The original book was very fantastic and very exciting, and it took place obviously during World War I and these giant machines, and it was all very fantastic, although a relatively personal story. And then in the 50s, when they redid it, they redesigned the walkers and turned them into sort of spacey, weird aliens, and it was still, in essence, a monster movie.
saw the aliens as pre-moral. Don't be fooled by his childlike curiosity and appearance. He's a killer.
That was the state-of-the-art of special effects at that particular point in time. And you look at it now, and it's not as good as the book.
The movie, produced by science fiction specialist George Pal, changed well